Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another. Welcome to another Daily Masters cast, where your wonderful host Harry Muppet continually forgets exactly what he is supposed to be casting. So here we are, another game from the WCS Season 2 round of 16, I believe it is, the round of 16. Round of 16 because it'll full group. So, it's going to be a PVZ. And down the bottom right side of the map, it is, of course, going to be our blue Zerg player, Jaedong. And down the bottom left side of the map, it is going to be our red Protoss player, Rain. And, I'm not going to tell you what I just did. Moving on, yes, Rain is going to be our red Protoss player. And we haven't really seen anything from Rain. But the fact that he got into the WCS Season 2 finals definitely says that he is a good player. So we're going to see exactly how he does against Jaedong. But of course, Jaedong is a superb Zerg player, absolutely superb. So Rain a bit of an unknown quantity as far as I can tell, and we actually should probably look up Rain because, just to get some information about him since we haven't cast him yet. I should probably do this before the videos, but whatever. The fact is, nothing happens early game, so there's really not much to talk about, so I might as well... Oh my god, there's two players called Rain. Why? Why would you do this to me? You blah. Alright, so there's a Protoss and there's a Terran. We can assume this guy is the Protoss player because he's playing Protoss. And yes, Rain, South Korean player, playing for the SK Telecom T1. So that's pretty awesome. And if I'm gonna look at my document here for a sec. I think he actually made it into the quarterfinals of the WCS Season 2. But then again, so did Jaedong. So it's anybody's guess as to who wins this game because I cannot remember which one of them beat the other one. All I know is they both made it through the round of 16. So very, very interesting. We've got a fast expand coming off the Forge. And this is actually quite a huge gap here to try and bridge, but no doubt he will be able to do it. And Probe just coming back. He didn't really block anything off. This expansion is going down quite on time. A little bit ahead, but he did go for a pull into hatch, so that's probably about fine. And some fairly standard stuff. Jaedong going for the early third base as well after seeing the fast expand off the Protoss player. Of course, if you go for 3 bases and the Protoss player does not fast expand, then actually he hasn't seen the fast expand yet. He's just assuming, but it's a fair assumption to make. And if he had run in here and there was no expansion, then Jaedong may have been saying, oh my god, I've made a big mistake here, because there could be a 4-gate coming out in the next couple of minutes, and he would have had to almost, instantly cancel this and tech switch instantly into roaches. I feel like that's the only thing he could really do, or just get a buttload of spine crawlers in front of his expansion. But even then, he could not have saved his third, I feel like. So if he didn't see this expansion here, he would have had to done some crazy stuff to try and deal with a potential 4-gate. But fortunately for him, the main tactic that pretty much all Protoss and Terran players do, even on the small maps these days, is expand. Everybody wants the money. Nobody cares about early attacks anymore. Everybody just wants the money. In fact, if you attack off one base in a Masters level tournament these days, you're basically cheesing. Anything which doesn't involve an expansion is basically cheese these days because it's just so standard to get an expansion. I mean, it really, really is. I mean, unless you're playing ZVZ as well, it's basically cheese to do anything off 2 bases. So... the crazy expansions early in the game, which really was crazy back in Wings of Liberty, is pretty much normal. Pretty much normal these days. So, anyway, this Probe coming in. He wants to see the third base. He is not going to be disappointed. This Queen is going to be having a crack, and just the fact that a Queen came out from here is going to tell him all he needs to know. And now it's up to this Probe to get away, and whether he will be able to or not, I feel like he probably won't because the Ling is a little bit faster, but he actually gets enough time to regenerate shields by the time he runs away, so yeah, he is actually going to be fine. And the Ling is going to be like, oh, that's so unfair. But the Ling choosing the perfect time to run, only getting 1 cannon hit off on him, so great job there. We do have a bunch of Phoenix coming out, he is chrono boosting them. So we have seen this, from another player. I think he might have, and the other player may have been playing off against Jaedong, but I can't remember exactly who was doing this. I know it was fairly recently I cast this game. And yeah, just a whole bunch of Phoenix early on. They're great at Overlord sniping, just like the early Vikings for a Terran player. But, of course, showing his hand fairly quickly. And Jaedong is going to be wanting to get Spore Crawlers all over the place. 2 per base is pretty good. 1 per base is sort of doable, but if you put 1 here, it's a little bit hard to sort of, you can sort of put the queen there and sort of keep it alive, but you can get drones off on the fringe side, the ones mining gas, and those are arguably the most important drones. You can still snipe those without taking too much damage if the Spore Crawler's in the middle. If it's off at the edges, it's a little bit harder. You take quite a bit more damage. And there we go, the Phoenix going in there, the Queen hitting it a bit, and the Spore Crawler's hitting it a bit as well. He's just doing some advanced scouting. Actually, no more Phoenix coming out, so maybe his plan is just to scare Jaedong a bit, make him think that he's going for Phoenix. But the fact is, he is not. He is going straight for a Colossus by the looks of it. So, forcing Jaedong to spend quite a lot on getting all those Spore Crawlers. And the Spore Crawlers not too bad because they don't cost too much, but they're Hydras, man. If he scares Jaedong into going into Hydras, when in fact he is going for a Colossus, that is going to be pretty huge. But no doubt Jaedong can still make Hydras work if he combines it with Roaches, but if he doesn't combine it with Roaches, if he just goes for pure Hydra, or if he goes for Ling Hydra or something like that, he's going to be in a world of pain because Colossus, with a decent ground army, it just owns Hydras. No, I mean, Jaedong's macro may still see him through this game, but overall, the army composition is definitely going to be favouring Rain at this point in the game. Although the Overseer going around, he's not seeing this building anymore. He is seeing the Robotics Support Bay. I keep calling it the Robotics Support Bay. It's actually the Robotics Bay. The Robotics Support Bay was back in Brood War. Wait, Brood War was StarCraft 1, wasn't it? Oh my god, I am so bad at this game. But yeah, there we go. And just pumping out about a bunch of Colossus. So Jaedong knows exactly what's going on. He is not going to be fooled by this Colossus tech switch. He knows that it's happening. And actually 2 more Stargates coming down. Where are these Stargates coming down? Where? That's the question of the day. They're coming out over there. And yes, Jaedong does not know about the switch into 2 more Stargates. So it's a counter switch to the switch that Jaedong knew was coming. So he's still got out a decent amount of Hydras. He's putting a shield down there. And the Colossus, oh, such a bad position. And this guy is going to get a good position, attack the Hydras from the flank, but the Hydras just turn around and start attacking him, and he cannot afford to engage these guys directly. And there we go, the Forge going down, the Lings now have open access to go in, and Rain, for all of his beautiful unit composition plans, he may just be defeated by pure macro here, because Jaedong has a ton of Hydras, and Colossus can only really do damage if they've got a buffer zone, and Rain does not have a buffer zone, and even if he did, I think he would probably need at least 2 Colossus to really hit this army hard. 3 preferably, because that is a lot of Hydras. And right now, he had 2 Colossus, but one of them was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It just got owned. So, yeah, there we go. He's building a ton of stuff now. He's actually building out 3 Void Rays at once. I'm not sure how good of a plan this is, because, yeah, I mean, Hydras are pretty good versus Void Rays. They're pretty good. And I suppose if he combines it with a ton of Colossus, he's probably waiting for the eventual Corruptor transition to come out from Jaedong, but Jaedong is actually getting out the Vipers. He's not going for the Corruptors. So the Void Rays, I mean, it's a really, really, really nice Protoss tactic. End game is to go for Colossus Void Ray, and we have seen that, I think, in the Asus ROG. There was, let me think, it was San, I believe, who was doing this, actually versus Jaedong. I think it was Jaedong versus Hyun, one or the other. And he did it, made it work really, really well against Roach Hydra, I believe, with Corruptor support. He had the Void Rays and he had the Colossus, and the Void Rays just shredded the Corruptors and the Colossus shredded everything else. But the question is, can he make this beautiful gameplay work in the next few minutes? Because I feel like that's how long it's going to take for Jaedong to get out there and just wipe Rain off the map. He's got an awesome unit composition. In terms of his economy, he's only 5 workers ahead, so grats on Rain for catching up so far there, but He's 50 army supply ahead. Actually, no, he's about 40 now, but man, I do not know how he's going to do. The Colossus getting yanked out, and one of them manages to survive to get back, just barely though. And there we go, the Hydra deterrent is going to go out. The Void Ray is getting just absolutely annihilated by the Hydras, and the Roach is going in, wiping out everything else. And so far, just the Vipers yanking the Colossus out, really just spelling defeat there. But I feel like the Roach numbers were large enough. They could have held off the ground army, because he never got the massive amount of ground army that he really needed. I just hit the microphone again, and he teched too soon. He went for the tech too soon, and this is actually what happened in yesterday's Daily Masters. I'm already starting to forget who was actually in it, but I think it was Polt versus Grubby actually, and Grubby, he definitely teched up quite fast, and we saw that again from Rain. And they go for too much too soon. They get very top heavy armies, and they don't get the they don't get the significant ground army that they really need. The base units, the Zealots and the Stalkers and the Sentries, man. You need those units to protect your Colossus. There's no point just going for a ton of Colossus if you don't have those ground units up, because you have stuff like this. You have massive Triple M, or you have mass Roach Hydra coming in, and the counters for Colossus are, you can get them so much quicker. For Zerg players and for Terran players, you can get them so much quicker, and yeah, it's just Zerg can get everything quicker than the Protoss can, because I mean it would be like Jaedong, like sort of going for ultras, trying to get ultras out at the 15-minute mark. The rest of his army would just be shit. I mean, he'd have a few ultras out, and Rain could basically just wipe him out with Stalkers if he just went for basic ground units. If he went for Zealot, Stalker just got a ton of them, and Jaedong went straight for ultras, he would have like 3 or 4 ultras, and Raid would have like 20 or 30 ground units. And who's going to win in that battle, seriously? I mean, it's definitely going to be Rain in that situation. And that's what he's doing with the Colossus, with the Void Rays. He's going for a late game unit composition, trying to get it in 15 minutes. And he just ends up coming up short with the ground units and coming up short with the army overall. So, yeah, it's starting to be a trend as far as I can see. I mean, yes, you're just players going for too much too soon, and players like Jaedong, like Polt, just abusing them for it at around the 15-minute mark, just going in. I mean, the last game finished 15-17 or something. This game finishes 14-57. Just around that time, you get out so much, and alright, we're going to move on, and yeah, we're going to see how these continue to move on, because I'd love to see a Protoss player going up against the likes of Jaedong and Polt and not falling into that trap, because so far I've seen quite a few different Protoss players falling into that trap. Even Stardust, man, he doesn't fall into it so much per se, but he goes for the Robo Facility off one gate, and that's getting into that risky sort of territory. But anyway, I don't think he does this much of a top heavy army, but he still has that mindset, if you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. This has been another Daily Masters game. Thank you very much for watching, and especially thank you guys for if you watch the final end of the video, listen to my sort of analysis of the game, because I love doing the analysis, and I would love it even more if I actually knew that people listen to it. So a lot of players, they see the GG, they stop watching, but if you listen to the rest, then yes, thank you very, very much for watching this entire video. And yeah, let me know if it's helpful at all for your game style, because some people are they try and improve, and hearing analysis of Masters level play, it definitely can help that. I know that I can play better after watching the Masters level game, but better, not as good as these guys, but obviously better. So anyway, moving on. Daily Masters, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and if you've watched this far and you haven't subscribed, please do. And yeah, thank you very much. So this has been Hairy Muppet. Hope you enjoyed this game.